It's 2 o'clock, yet another Tuesday. Welcome back to Generation C. I am Jamie Lilos.
And I'm Hanchika Porfi. Generation C is a show that aims to empower the youth throughout all our three segments, namely The Zone, Varsity Chat Room, and School Corner.
Generation C recaps on The Zone, giving you reason why it is the best read. It is the best read on a Tuesday. It is published in the Namibian Sun, Algemene Zeitung, and Republican.
Well, today is World Water Day, so if I were you, I would take my 2-liter water and have a drink.
Me too. Today in studio, we're joined by an amazing guest, Nguseta Humbu. But before we get into that interview, let's take a look at the pages in The Zone. So on page 1, we have an article on Tristan de Lange, who is a cyclist that won the Solo Award at the Nedbank Desert Dash. Let's have a look.
I'm Tristan de Lange, and I've been racing bikes since I can remember now. I started off really because it was mainly my father's interest, and he took the family to the local events. We always did things together. We were always an outdoorsy family, always things together, always being adventurous, and the cycling sort of just rolled with it. But then, like everyone going through the youth, you try everything. I was actually quite a busy bee. I was a swimmer, did karate, horse riding, cycling as well. All these different things, but cycling is the thing that really stuck with me, especially because my father was also largely involved. We kept going, and they just kept escalating, and I got more and more into it. And then my father took me on as a coach, and he just trained me every day. And I wasn't like everyone else. My parents were quite worried about safety on the road and outside. So I was always bound to the stationary bike at home. So every day since I was, I think, like 11, 12, I was on the stationary bike for about 2 hours, 3 hours every day after school. Always after school, it's 1 hour, home, lunch, straight into the bike. Homework before dinner, and then next day's repeat. That was pretty much my school life. I had a few big accidents along the way, which almost took me out of the sports as well, but it's unfortunately as part of the deal. It's the package you sign up for. So then I was at varsity for a few years at Stellenbosch, but also just maintaining my riding, still racing professionally. And once I wrapped up the studies, I went full-time racing professionally. And I was based in South Africa last year, and I'll be based in Europe this year. So it's still exciting and a long journey ahead.
Wow, he's such an inspiration. I mean, he did that.
He did that.
Well, on page 2, we have, of course, our Vox, where we took to the streets and, of course, asked where the Zone team took to the streets and asked people, what is the importance of clean water? Let's take a listen.
I'm Tia James Wilson, and I'm here to speak about why clean water is important. It's important in Namibia because with dirty water, you get sick a lot easier. Things from diarrhea to an unhealthy stomach to throwing up, that's not really great. For me, clean water is really important because I love my body and I love feeling good.
And I believe clean water is super important in Namibia because it avoids many people from getting sick, and not only getting sick, but it's also important to have sanitation and be clean and keep clean not only ourselves but our environments. Thank you.
Furthermore, for this week's photo of the week, we have a picture from the African Child Development Trust. It was launched on the 17th of March 2022.
Wow, that was such an amazing initiative. And we, of course, have an article by yours truly, Junior Kapofi, on creating a discrimination-free youth.
On page 3, we take a look at the Namibian Stock Exchange that recently launched the annual Namibian Scholars Investment Challenge 2022 for university students as well as high school learners. Please do stay tuned for the following video.
Good day, my name is Jane Sal. I'm the Chief Information Officer at the Namibian Stock Exchange. Background would be on the Scholars Competition that was recently launched on the 1st of March 2020. The Scholars Competition started way back in 1998, and annually it was, and it started to be a continuous competition done annually. Since 2017, we have the universities along with secondary school students to join in this competition, and the competition is basically a virtual trading application that was created. So teams can register online or can contact the NSX for the application forms. Basically the competition will be running for 6 months, and the winners at the end of the 6 months who've incurred the least losses and made the biggest profits will then be announced as the winners. Registration, as already indicated, can be sent to registration queries and or the completed documents can be sent to info@nsx.com.na, and the trading will be starting on the 1st of April 2022 with the closing of the competition on the 16th of September.
We have an article on the 8th annual Desert Sports Festival that will be taking place at Walvis Bay Private School Sports Field this week, and the main sponsor is Indongo Toyota Walvis Bay.
I am really excited for the desert
Event.
Yes.
I wish I could go.
Me too. Right, moving over to page 4, there is, of course, we have a feature story by Irene Marie van der Walt, who speaks about the importance of water and drought in Namibia.
Moving on to page 5, we take a look at the school focus, which is on ProEd, which is one of the few schools in the coast that are an Afrikaans school. I wish I went to an Afrikaans school, you know, because my Afrikaans is super, super bad.
My Afrikaans is not that bad.
As jy seker.
Ek is
So bietjie, verstaan julle?
Yeah, it's also Vicky. But moving on to page 6, that is, of course, we have an article about Andre Retief, who continues to show us why he is a force to be reckoned with as he runs 400 meters.
Wow.
I can't even make 100
So I
meters.
can't speak Afrikaans, ek kan nie hardloop nie. What must can happen?
What must get to happen? What an interesting zone edition that
I
was.
genuinely enjoyed it. I hope you guys grab a copy of the zone. But for us, we're gonna head on over to School Corner.
Yes, let's head on over to School Corner and, of course, an interview somewhere around there. Well, let's take a look at what is happening in this week's School Corner. Now, we of course have the African Child Development Trust that was recently launched.
Don't forget to grab your very own copy of this week's school newspapers from the following schools: Namib High School, Coastal High School, West Side High School, and Noordgrens Secondary School, guys.
I'm so excited for those school newspapers.
I can't wait to get my own copy.
Of course. And don't forget to keep sending us content like this for our Telegram channels, that is, of course. So from us here at School Corner, it is, of course, let's meet on the other side.
And now, let's head on over to our amazing interview with our guest, Nguseta Humbu. I'm super excited to meet him, Hancho.
Me too. I mean, he's a producer, he's a clothing brand owner, and not to forget a forex trader. I think I can learn a thing or two. Right, if you are just joining us now, you are tuned into Generation C. I am, of course, Hanchuka Pofi, and we are joined by a young entrepreneur. I'm telling you, this guy does literally everything from producing to owning a clothing brand and doing forex, which is something that is very popular today. How are you, man? How are you doing?
I'm good, man. How are you?
I'm good. By the way, we are joined by Nguseta Humbu. Thank you so much for making time out of your busy schedule, because I know you're definitely busy.
Yeah.
Altyd Besig, what can I say?
Always.
Yes. All right. So let's start off with the clothing brand. What inspired Altyd Besig?
Well, what actually inspired Altyd Besig was I was schooling at Cosmos at the time when I moved to Windhoek, and there was this one guy, he owned a brand. So I always used to ask him, like, how did you start the brand, and like what's the reasoning behind it, and whatnot. So that's how I kind of got into fashion and like clothing and what. So like my mom always used to call me like, oh, you're always busy, you're always doing everything.
Yeah.
Because I'm such a huge opportunist, you know. Like when there's an opportunity, I always grab it. So I just thought like, well, let me start a brand that represents who I am, but it also sends a message out to people, you know. So yeah, that's
amazing. I love that. Now, apart from, because Altyd Besig is now like the t-shirts now written Altyd Besig, is there anything else that you are going to branch into? Because okay, I know there's t-shirts, there's polo necks, there's hoodies. Is there anything else that you're going to branch into when it comes to fashion? Because you mentioned that you are a fashion lover.
well, Altyd Besig, all I can say is that we're gonna break a lot of boundaries. Long term.
Long term, yeah.
But I don't want to say anything on the camera yet. You know.
I just knew because knowing you, I know you don't. You are more of a watch and see what
happens,
unfold,
yeah.
and not really share before it's to come.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. All right, so let's move into forex. How did the conversation of actually starting forex come about, and when did you actually get into it? Because I know forex is not for people that are like me, that are very like, I just want the money now. It takes some time. So how did that even come about?
Well, with forex, it was like it was with the pandemic and everything. You know, like we were attending school, and all of a sudden you get a text message saying like you're gonna be at home for we don't know how long.
Yeah.
So I was at home and I was like scrolling through the internet, and I saw these people like they're doing this forex thing.
Yeah.
And they're making money doing this forex thing. So I was like, okay, it kind of got my interest.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, this seems like something I could do. So I started teaching myself by reading books, a lot of YouTube videos. Yeah, but then that's kind of how forex started, you know, and I just found a passion in it from there.
Yeah, and how would you say the journey with forex has been thus far? Because I mean, you've been trading. If you're talking about the pandemic, that's since 2020 and 2022. How has the journey been thus far?
Guys, forex is not easy.
Yeah.
But it's worth it. Like if you stick through and push, you'll get there.
Yeah, so it's all about your like, you need to have passion for it. You need to, because if you're, once again I say it, if you're like me and you're like, I need to move, if I'm not getting money, I need to move, then this might not be something for you. And it takes a lot of time. You need to read up and research and all that. Find out a little bit about the market.
Yeah.
All right, now moving into production. You are a producer. I've listened to some of your music. I have obviously listened to the music. Yeah. So tell us that journey. How did that now the music industry spark your interest exactly?
Well, I've always had a love for music. It's just I never knew where to start.
Yeah.
So I met this one guy. He's actually named Timo Kevin. Shout outs. He's named Timo Kevin. So like a friend of mine introduced me to him. Yeah. So me not knowing anything about music, I was like, okay, I'm eager to work with someone who's actually doing music.
Yeah.
So then she connected me with him. But then obviously like he just helped me with getting the right door to use and everything.
Yeah.
So from there it's been like me tackling the entire learning curve of production. But it's been fun. Music is nice.
All right, so where can the people find your music? Okay, YouTube, like, give yourself a shout out, tell the people.
You can find my music on YouTube under the title Altyd Besig NA.
Yeah. Now tell us, okay, when it comes to your music, what type of music are you really into? Are you into like deep house? You know, I'm a piano, like, tell us a little bit about that.
I love soft music.
Soft music, yeah.
Very soft. I like those pianos.
Yeah.
But then like you kind of had to add that touch of what's trending, you know.
Yeah.
So like Amapiano is trending. People like those hard beats. So I try and incorporate something soft in there for the heart that feels.
Yeah.
And then also try and like attend to the people who want those hard
for
long
us that
drums,
have to
long
just go crazy. Yeah, amazing. All right, so what can we expect from Altyd Besig when it comes to music? Because I know you recently released something as well. So apart from that, what are we yet to expect? Like a music video, other music, collaborations wise?
Well, I'm actually silently working on an album.
Yeah.
But it's due to drop either either end of this year
Mm-hmm.
or somewhere next year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I'm really excited for that album. Okay, now it's not silently working on an album
Not
because now we
anymore.
all know and the pressure is on because now you're all expecting that album.
Yeah.
We want to be dancing in the
Mm.
streets and creating TikTok trends with your music.
Yeah.
Okay, now finally, what message do you have for someone that is sitting at home watching this right now?
Mm.
Because I think you are doing a lot that you are passionate about. Forex takes a lot of passion. Music takes an even bigger passion, and when it comes to clothing and starting your own brand
Yeah.
in a country like Namibia, it's so difficult to always get support.
Yeah.
So what is that one thing that you would tell that child at home watching that also wants to follow into your footsteps?
The one thing that I would say is that like anything is possible. Like if you see yourself doing something, you're more likely to achieve it. There's a reason you have that vision.
Yeah.
So go after it no matter what. No matter who's saying you can't, just
Yeah.
keep pushing. You'll get
Yeah,
there.
boy. Yeah, boy. I love that. Go after it no matter who said you can't. Ne? Muni mofni, muni give up.
Altyd Besig.
I just had to. Thank you so much for joining us, man.
It's an honor, man.
Right. Let's move on to the varsity chat room.
Hi guys, and welcome back to Varsity Chat Room. Now that we're done looking at what all the school kids are doing, let's take a look at what our varsity students are up to in the
Indeed.
Varsity Chat Room.
Indeed. Right, starting off, of course, our page 8, we have Jemima Ndebele's article on the NemPower endorsing the World Skills Namibia.
Okay, Jemima, we see you.
Yes.
Well, on page 8, we also have our varsity corner that focuses on Jolida Kalomo, a 21-year-old who is currently doing her 3rd year in foundation phase education at the University of Pretoria. Jolida's choice of study was fueled by her desire to do primary school teaching, and she discovered that at the University of Pretoria, it offers the best teaching courses in South Africa. Let's take a look at what Jolida has in store for us.
Hi, my name is Jolida Kalomo. I am 21 years old and I'm from Namibia. I'm currently studying foundation phase education at the University of Pretoria and I'm a 3rd year student. I applied to study for the University of Pretoria in 2018 and I have been a student at the university since 2020. My course, Foundation Phase Education, is a 4-year-long course. There isn't actually any specific reason why I chose this course. I just wanted to study primary school education and this was the course available. But I did later learn that the University of Pretoria does have one of the best teaching courses in South Africa. The course that I'm doing currently is it's not what I expected it to be. It's much more engaging and practical. We do have a lot of projects and portfolios that we have to do that require us to sometimes have children as part of our portfolio so that we gain experience working with children other than just our student practicals that we have. The process getting into South Africa was not as daunting as I thought it was. I did have a lot of help from people that I knew who helped me with this process. It was a lot of paperwork though, and I think the visa process was the one that was the most time-consuming part of the entire applying process. Most universities' applications take place online, so it's very easy to apply to universities. Just be prepared that some universities have an application fee for them to accept your application. My experience at my current university has been positive for the most part. The university has many opportunities for students to learn and gain experience. I found out about my university through a choir trip that I took in 2018, and the University of Pretoria was one of the hosts, and I got to explore the main campus, Hatfield campus, and I really liked it, and I decided that it was one of my choices of universities that I wanted to go to. Also, the University of Pretoria visited my school during my matric, my grade 11 year, I believe, and they sent a representative who came to talk to us about why we should consider applying to UP. I would say struggles I faced being in a new country being abroad is just being an international student in general. It can be very tough at times. I do miss home a lot, and not having that ability to go home over the weekends like some of my friends do can be tough. From people that I knew who helped me with this process. It was a lot of paperwork though, and I think the visa process was the one that was the most time-consuming part of the entire applying process. Most universities' applications take place online, so it is very easy to apply to universities. Just be prepared that some universities have an application fee for them to accept your application. My experience at my current university has been positive for the most part. The university has many opportunities for students to learn and gain experience. I found out about my university through a choir trip that I took in 2018, and the University of Pretoria was one of the hosts, and I got to explore the main campus, Hatfield campus, and I really liked it, and I decided that it was one of my choices of universities that I wanted to go to. Also, the University of Pretoria visited my school during my matric, my grade 11 year, I believe, and they sent a representative who came to talk to us about why we should consider applying to UP. I would say struggles I faced being in a new country, being abroad, is just being an international student in general. It can be very tough at times. I do miss home a lot, and not having that ability to go home over the weekends like some of my friends do can be tough. But it is very important to make good friends who can help you during these tough times. I would say to anyone who wants to study abroad is to just do it. As cliche as it might sound, it can be one of the best experiences of your life, really. No doubt there will be tough times, and that's something that you have to prepare yourself for. But you never know, you could end up really enjoying yourself. Also, this is an opportunity to experience new people and new places, and to gain new opportunities that you might never have had before. If you have the means to study abroad, I highly recommend it. It could be a life-changing experience. For any first years doing teaching, I would say to keep up to date with your work, and because it can be a lot. Create a schedule so you know when things are due, so that you never miss a due date. Make sure to have patience with those courses, especially when you do your student practicals, as it can be a very informative time, but also a very overwhelming couple of weeks. Thank you very much.
Well, unfortunately, all good things do come to an end, and from Hancho and I.
It is, of course. Katuhanga nini pokapana mbwe.
And I hope your Independence Weekend was amazing, because you know what? This week will be too. Bye, guys.